you're facing them, and game one, overtime, Canucks win it. You come back, Glenn Anderson, big shorthanded goal in game two. You win game three, you dominate. Then comes that game four. And again, another question you've gotten a gazillion times, but I want to ask you while I have you here, because talking to the man himself, it's game four. Pavel Bure's got a breakaway. I believe there was a turnover. There was a shot on the other end. I think Leach whiffed on it, and it creates an opportunity for Pavel Bure, who they don't call him the Russian Rocket for nothing. He's going down the ice, and then Brian Leach, that has no choice, takes him down. Penalty shot. Let's show the audience what transpired next. We're going to take you back to game four of the 1994 Stanley Cup Finals. Sam Rosen and John Davidson on the call.
Trailing the Vancouver Canucks. Pavel Bure getting set. Everyone on their feet at Pacific Coliseum. Here comes Bure against Mike Richter. Saved by Richter! What a save by Mike Richter to stop Pavel Bure! They're going wild in the garden. The Rangers here at Pacific Coliseum. Congratulate Mike Richter on a fabulous save.
Richter jumped out of the net as soon as Bure touched the puck, and I said, oh my, he may be out too far. But watch him come back, and he waited for Bure to make the first move. Look at Bure. Look at Richter. Richter settled. Now go after him. My Lord, what a save. What a stretch by Richter.
And of course, that is really the defining moment of your career. When people think of your career highlights, they think of that moment. So as he's coming down on that penalty shot, that crowd in Vancouver's going nuts. Again, much like I asked you about Matoa's goal, take me through what's going through your mind as he's coming down the ice.
Okay, so yeah, he exactly what you're saying. This guy was dominant that year. And Vancouver, just to put it in perspective, they were okay during the year. They were a tough team, but they just didn't have a consistent year. But you could see them ramping up at the end of the year. Pat Quinn was a good coach, really smart, kind of the psychology that he would kind of instill in that locker room. And they were picking teams off all the way and only getting better. They were hitting their stride. Anything that, for all the misses they had during the year, this was a team, their goalie was unreal. Their top scorer was dominant. They were tough, very, very tough and gritty and never, they don't give an inch. So I think maybe we had them underrated. I'm not sure. You get the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't think you can take anything for granted. But I think, it's easy for people, who are these guys who, they just squeak through a couple rounds. Are they that good? Their season series against us was pretty intense when we had the games against them. But, it seems almost a letdown from playing New Jersey, but Stanley Cup Finals, and this team is there because they deserve to be. They were an excellent team. And Pav, above all else, he was a scoring machine that year and in the playoffs too. He's had already a couple breakaways. He's just got speed. It's like Connor McDavid. He's uncontainable when he flees the zone and someone gives him the pass. He'll get it, and he's got great hands. And it's one of those guys like Connor McDavid that can not just skate fast, but handle the puck at that rate of speed, which is very rare. You have guys that can skate, but it's hard to have your hands and your brain keep up with that level of quickness. And he had scored a few times in that playoff series even. And like all good players, it's not like he has one move. He's done that. He did that move against me in the All-Star game in Manhattan earlier in the year. He had done it to win, I think, against Calgary. He had scored in the playoffs before that. But I didn't have any kind of preconceived notions of, he's going to do a forehand deke. He scored by shooting. He scored backhand. He scored forehand. The guy was a gifted goal scorer with speed to burn. And I'm not even sure, looking back on it, whether it should have been a penalty shot. But, it was this great moment, as penalty shots always are. But back then you had less of them, and there wasn't the shootout after the game. So it was just more of a rarity, and it just amplified the kind of the hype around it. But it's in a pivotal game, right? They were a really tough team at home. They win that game going back to, and anything can happen in these series. It just the momentum keeps changing. And that was a tight game. So you're at a point in that game, and certainly that series even, where you save it and sort of the momentum goes one way, and it truly suddenly is on your side. If they score, boy, it not only changes the score, but it changes the momentum, and the people were going insane. I think, the lucky thing for us, Pav was at the end of a shift. He was tired. He's talking to the ref. He's probably trying to get his breath. We had to play down the other end, so it wasn't like I was exhausted or anything. And I just knew we had speed, so I was going to try to match his speed going back. But I'm not the biggest guy in the world, so I have to come out. I can't just sit in the net because he can pick you apart just shooting. So I have to come out. If you're going to come out on Pavel Bure, you better be able to get backwards quick. And it worked out great. I mean, it was what you're supposed to do is get out, get set, keep a distance between you, and have patience, which is hard to do because the guy can score. And you try to wait him out and let him make the first move and then react to it. And it worked. Far more pressure probably on him than me, hometown guy, expect him to score, team's down, we need you, Pav, at the end of a shift. That's not easy. So, it's funny because there's great pictures of that moment and people reference it all the time. But, and Pav to this day still has to sign the photograph, pictures of him getting saved, but he scored a lot in that series and that year. So, that one I got him, and that was a really exciting moment, But what's wild is, at least for your own brain space, is you make that save. Well, that's great, but you better save the next one or else it's sort of all for naught. So you sort of have to scrape it off and think about it later. And that's the nature of sports is, this, whether you whiffed on that or it's just hit a home run, now you're up to bat again. You better be focused on this. And that goes for play-by-play as a goalie. It's shot to shot, period to period, game to game. And, great win we had there, but scrape it off and get ready for the next one,